Hi cuties! I hope you guys are doing so well. Today I'm going to be creating the designs that my subscribers drew for me for my nails in real life. If you guys aren't familiar with this series, it's called Subscribers Draw My Nails. It was started on YouTube by Emily Susanna, so I'm super excited to be continuing the series today. This time, instead of the template being of an entire hand of nails, I only gave you a template of one finger, and I'm going to be doing a different design for every nail, so you guys will have to let me know whether you prefer this or when I do two full hands of one design. If you want to participate in the next one, make sure to subscribe to the channel and put your notifications on so that you'll get notified whenever I make a community tab post, because that's where I upload the templates whenever it is time for another Subscribers Draw My Nails. And for some reason, a lot of you guys tend to miss my community tab posts. I don't know why. YouTube just doesn't want to show them to anyone. But yeah, with all of that being said, let's get into these awesome nail designs. Your creativity never ceases to amaze me. I am telling you, y'all are big brained. But before we get into the designs that I'm going to be recreating today, I wanted to give shout outs to a few designs that were really awesome. So first, this wintry nail art by Sani with the blue to purple ombre in the snowflake design was super pretty, and it's making me want winter to come so bad, especially because it is very hot and boiling in my room right now. And also, you left the sweetest note, and I did read it, and thank you so much. I love you. I read all of the notes, and I love all of you. Next, this like pastel goth pink and black My Melody theme set submitted by Yumi. So adorable, and I love how they included the design for the rest of the 4 nails as well, in case I wanted to make it into a full set. I may have to revisit this in the future because it is totally my vibe. Next, this like ocean and sand and starfish themed nail submitted by Eagle. I love that so many of you guys had like an ocean and sand themed vibe for your nail art, especially because I've been doing so many of those kinds of nails recently, and it seems as though we are all on the same wavelength, because I think some of you guys submitted these designs before I even did some of the nail art that was like super similar, but I never even saw the designs that you submitted before I did the nail art, if that makes sense. Our brains are just connected. I loved this Y2K Hello Kitty beach theme design submitted by Dorian. This epic nail to celebrate me hitting 30,000 subscribers submitted by Hannah Jane Buchanan. Sorry if I mispronounced that. It reminds me of like race cars or Hot Wheels, and it's super epic. This one with my little black cat Junie hanging off of the top of the nail, and like the rest of his body is in the back of the nail, is so cute. And actually the first design that I'm going to be doing is kind of similar to this, but I also want to give you a shout out. So thank you, Erica, for submitting this design. This beautiful whimsical green and 3D sculpted flowers and vines nail submitted by Brittany2613 is so beautiful and totally the aesthetic that I have been loving recently. The next design, whoever submitted it did not want to be credited, but thank you so much. This art looks like it took forever, and I don't think I would have the skills to do it, but it is absolutely gorgeous. It is of a Bratz doll, and y'all know I was like a little bit obsessed with Bratz dolls a couple months ago. I have one. She's back there. I did a live stream on this channel opening her. Isabel Espinoza submitted this orange nail art design, which I feel like fruit nails have been super popular recently and trendy, as they usually are during summer, and I think I may have to include this type of nail art in a set soon. And the final shout out I want to give is to Christina, or xti.nails on Instagram. I remember she commented on one of my more recent videos telling me about her idea to do this awesome Rick and Morty aquarium nail design. So she drew it out for me on a piece of paper, and this drawing looks like it took so much effort and so much time. And honestly, I wanted to do this nail design so bad, but I felt like it was going to take so long, and honestly, I did not have the strength to do it this time. But it is so awesome, and I love it so much, and maybe in a future video. I wish I could give each and every single one of you a shout out, but just know that I looked at all of your designs and read all of your notes, and I love you all so much, and I am so appreciative to all of you who submitted a design for taking your time to draw that for me. And if you missed this round of submissions, don't worry, there is sure to be more in the future. Just keep an eye out on my community tab posts. Yeah, but with all of that being said, let's actually get into the first nail that I'm going to be bringing to life, shall we? So the first design that I'm going to be doing today is this absolutely adorable nail design of my 2 cats, Junie and Arwen, on a nail. When I saw this nail design, I just immediately knew that it had to be one of the ones that I do. I've been wanting to do a set themed after Junie and Arwen since I adopted them in May of 2024. So when I saw this design, I knew that it was my time to shine. So thank you so much to swag_nails on TikTok for submitting this design. I'm super excited to recreate it. So let's get into it. So this nail is an extra long square. So I'm going to use these Mist Cheering sculpted nail tips that I have from Shein. They are a super affordable dupe for the Appraise sculpted full cover tips. And I like them a lot. And for this nail, I'm gonna do it on my thumb because I think it'll be cute to just like be able to see Arwen hanging off the top. I don't know. I think it'll be perfect. Perfect. So I'm going to put all of these nails on using my new peel off base coat method, which I need to make like a full in-depth video about how to do it because it is the best way, I believe, to be able to switch out your nails super often and keep your nail designs intact if you want to, while also growing out your natural nails and like having them be super healthy and strong. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should coin the method with like a specific name, like Anne's peel off method or something like that. Anyway, so right now on my natural nails, I have a hard gel layer and a top coat, and I'm going to use this rubbery peel off base coat that I got from Amazon as the nail glue gel to put on this full cover tip. And I'm just going to use like the regular Gel X method to do it. I'll show you guys this part in depth right now, but for the rest of the nails, I'll just like skip over it. First, I'm going to use this acid-free tip primer from Appraise to prep the inside of my tip. I'm just going to scrub it with the brush where it's going to be on my nail because I want the gel that I'm going to be using to put it on to stick to the tip really well, because I don't want the tip itself separating from the peel off gel. I just want the peel off gel to be separating from the top coat that I have on my hard gel layer, which is why I put the top coat on so that the peel off gel will remove somewhat easily whenever I do go to remove it. I'm going to wipe off my nail with some isopropyl alcohol to make sure it's nice and clean and no dirt or anything gets trapped under there. I'm going to take out my gooseneck lamp so that I can flash cure the tip on there. And then I'm going to use this peel off base gel as my nail glue gel. So I'm going to put it on as I would put any other nail glue gel. And my natural nails have grown out quite long, so I want to make sure I'm using enough. And before I put it on my nail, I'm going to turn on my light so that it's ready to go. And I'm going to put it on and pop it under there for like 15 seconds just so that it's cured on strong enough so that it's not going to lift up when I stop holding it. And then if there's a little bit of spillage around the edges, you can usually just use a wooden cuticle pusher to kind of peel it off before you fully cure it in your big lamp. But then I'm going to take out my large lamp and I'm going to stick it in there for a full 60-second cure. And before I take out my file and make sure it's nice and clean around the edges and there's no spillage or anything, I'm just going to use any glossy non-wipe top coat and put it on the underbelly of the nail just to get rid of any stickiness left by extra product so that it doesn't get like super dusty and crusty under there with all the filing and dust. And I'm going to give that a cure. And then I'm going to take out my dust collector, which has a whole bunch of dust left over in it from my past filings because I was too lazy to change out the filter. So don't mind that. But I'm just going to take my wooden file and I'm going to use the 100 grit side so it's not too rough. And I'm just going to file around the side walls of the nails and around the cuticle area a little bit to get any of the extra peel off base gel nail glue stuff that might have like squeezed out and that I wasn't able to remove with the wooden cuticle pusher, and also file the free edge of the nail so that it looks super sharp and there's not any ridges of where the nail came off the form from the factory or whatever. That tip looks so good, so I'm just gonna go wash off any extra nail dust and then I'll be back so we can do the nail art. Okay, so the base of the nail is a glittery pink, so I think that one of these glittery pinks from Nail Reserve is going to match perfectly. I like the Nail Reserve gel polishes for like opaque glittery gel polishes. A lot of the Korean gel polishes that I have are more translucent, so I think either this one, which is the color Milky Way, or this one, which is the color Less is More. But this one is a more like shimmery one, whereas this one is a more like iridescent one. So I think I'm gonna go with this one. So I'm just gonna put one layer of this, and then I might find another glittery pink gel polish to layer on top. But I think that this one matches the picture pretty well. I gave that a full cure, and I think I'm gonna add this pink glittery yogurt gel on top because it's more of like a reddish pink, but it's also very jelly and translucent. So I think that it'll just make this pink shade a little bit more vibrant, because I think in the drawing it is a bit more vibrant and less milky. So I think that this will be good. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. That looks good. Ooh, and it's so much more shimmery now. Okay, I gave that a cure, so I'm just gonna wipe off the sticky layer so a bunch of dust doesn't get stuck in it while I'm doing the rest of the nail art. I feel like I have not grabbed out these D-Gel X Ginny liner gels in a minute, but they are my go-to gels for doing little character art. So I'm going to use them to do the little Arwen and Junie nail art. So we're gonna need the black, the white, the pink, and for the eyes, I don't know if I'm going to use these or if I'm going to use cat eye gels, but I am just going to get out the yellow and the green just in case. And then I'm going to use these Nail Bayo doughy brushes that I got from Sweetie Nail Supply. They are Korean nail art brushes that I have never used before, but I think that today would be a good day to get them out. They're so fine. They're incredibly fine. I'm going to be using the longer brushes to do more straight line details and stuff like that, the smaller one to do small intricate details, and this middle one to fill in bigger areas of color. Ooh. Yeah, these things can get quite messy. Most of the time I honestly just use whatever paint is left in this little silicone stopper thingy. So I'm going to start by painting the outline of Junie at the base of the nail. I'm going to fill in the entire thing with black, and then I'll go over with more colors to do the details and such. If I have to, I'll put a layer of white for the small details so that they pop up more against the black. But I think that these liner gels are pigmented enough that they should have no problem layering over the black. I just have to make sure that I make Junie small enough that I can fit the little paw prints on this nail as well. This like long flat brush is so good for cleaning up the edges and stuff. I love it. It's number 004. I fully cured the first layer and I did a second layer just mostly on the middle of the face part. I think this is supposed to be non-wipe, but I always like wiping it off because I feel like there's always kind of like leftover uncured gel, and I don't want it to get smudged or mixed in with the other colors on top. That was actually so easy with those brushes and with this gel. So now I'm going to use this pink one, and I'm gonna add the little ear details. I was literally holding my breath for all of that. Okay, now for the eyes. Junie's eyes are a bit more yellow than Arwen's. Arwen's are a bit more on the green side, so I'm going to use the yellow for Junie. And on the drawing, they didn't say to use a cat eye gel, and honestly, I don't know if a cat eye gel would make it look best, so I'm just going to go with the drawing. I'm just going to paint the eyes on with this yellow. And in between colors, I'm cleaning off my brushes using this brush cleaner from Vetsy. This is what the bottle looks like. I'll have everything linked down below in the description box, but yeah. I feel like just especially for these little bit nicer brushes that are a bit more expensive, I like to try to keep them in good condition. So I think this is a bit more like conditioning than just using isopropyl alcohol. So in the drawing, Junie's eyes look a little bit more like squinty than Arwen's, which I think is funny because I think that actually matches their personality perfectly. I feel like Junie's a little bit more observant and curious and always like looking around, and Arwen's a bit more like a happy little princess, but she's also very nervous and likes to hide a lot more than Junie. So I think it's actually perfect that Arwen's the one like hiding behind the nail and like peeking her head up, and Junie's the one on the nail. And I think I will put a second layer just so that the yellow is like super bright and pops. I don't want like any of the black to be showing through. Also, my neighbors have these like really small little dogs that they just leave outside all day, and they bark at everything that like passes by their house. And right now while I'm trying to do this, it's really bothering me. I'm getting very irritated. And like, I don't even know why they leave them out because there's coyotes around here, so I don't know. And then I'm gonna use the black for the little pupils. And then also on the drawing, they said to maybe use a like 3D gel of some sort over the eyes and then also the nose to like make them pop out a bit more from the drawing. So I will do that afterwards. I'm gonna use this pink that's a bit darker than the one that I used for the ears. I love this pink. This pink is so pretty. And in the drawing, they mention this thermal color changing gel that is like specifically for blush, and they said that I could use that if I wanted to. And I think I might add that over this pink color for the blush because when it's warm, it does turn clear, and since it is hot, my hands are usually on the warmer side, and I don't want the blush to just always be clear, so I think it'll be cute if I add it over this pink color. That way maybe it'll turn a little darker when it gets in cold water or whatever. So this is the color changing gel that they were talking about. It's this pink color, and then when you cure it or expose it to heat, it turns clear. So I'm just gonna put like a drop of it on top of the blush that I already put. That way it's like barely noticeable, especially over the black, but when I do put it in like cold water or whatever, it'll make the blush look bigger maybe, or more just like opaque. All right, and then all that's left to do is the nose. So for the nose, I think I'm gonna use this black zigzag gel. It's specifically for 3D art, so it'll pop up from the rest of the nail, like the rest of the black. Ooh, that kind of just looks like a clown. Ooh, no, that's ugly. I think what I'm actually gonna do is use this white liner gel to add just a bit of detail for the nose so that it kind of shows up a bit more. So just like a small little, I don't know, that looks kind of weird. Okay, maybe like a little bit lower. Maybe if I add the little mouth detail. I don't know, because the mouth detail isn't in the actual drawing, but I feel like it makes it look a bit cuter. It also looks kind of derpy. But actually I kind of like the derpy vibe. So I think I'm gonna cure that. And now I'm gonna do the 3D gel, just a teensy tiny bit. All right, I think that's good. It's just a little subtle accent. And then all that's left to do for Junie is add a little bit of a clear dome on top of the eyes. I'm gonna use the Embo Clear Zigzag Gel. Just get a teeny tiny bit and add it to the eye. Because like if you look at cat eyes, they do have like little glass domes on them, or really any eye usually. Okay, I gave that a full cure, and I'm finally done with little Junie, which with all of the details and everything and my perfectionism, I've been working on this nail for over an hour now, and I haven't even got to the hardest part, which is going to be sculpting Arwen hanging off the nail, so I need to get a move on. That being said, I'm just going to quickly draw on some simple little paw prints with the black. I definitely did the paw prints like too close together, so that's kind of annoying, but whatever. Time to sculpt Arwen. So I'm going to use this sculpting gel, and really I'm just going to only be using the black one and then adding any accents with paint or like gel polish. Okay, so I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to sculpt the little arms first, and then I'm going to do the head on top. And I'm not going to like make the entire body in the back of the nail because honestly I just feel like that's too much work. And this is just the first nail and I'm already starting to feel tired. So yeah. Also, I'm just going to like sculpt it out on my tabletop. I wiped it off with isopropyl alcohol so it's nice and clean. So I'm going to take this piece of black that's going to become the arms. And first I'm going to roll it into a sphere, a little ball. All right, and then I'm going to roll it into a little chubby cylinder, little snake. And hopefully this doesn't stick onto the glass too much, but I'm going to cut it in half. These are going to be the two little arms. So one arm on this side, kind of like hanging over. It doesn't want to stick. In that case, I'm going to take this gel primer and I'm going to use it to just like add a sticky layer to the surface of my nail so that this 3D gel will stick easier. Okay. Much easier on the top, and have it like hanging over like that. I am gonna add little like slits to make it look a little bit more like a paw though. This paw may be a little too big, but I think it's fine. I don't really think it warrants doing it all over again. Before I cure it though, I'm gonna take my cleanup brush and I'm going to just kind of like smooth out the surface and try to remove any dust or lint that might be on it as well. All right, I'm gonna cure that. And then I'm quickly gonna repeat the same process for the second little paw. Okay, I think that's perfect. The way that the little arms kind of come together back here creates a perfect little platform, or shoulders, if you will, to build the little head on. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna make the head not huge, but the same width as Junie's head, I think. Or at least I'm gonna try to make it the same width. So pretty big. So I'm gonna start by rolling it into a little sphere again. That's usually how I start all of my sculpting, to just kind of smooth out the edges of the clay. All right, I think that's gonna be a good size. I'm just gonna, all right, it's not wanting to stick, so I'm gonna take a bit of primer and put it on top. Hopefully that'll help it stick better, please. Okay. There we go. Now that it's on there, I'm going to use my brush with isopropyl alcohol to kind of smooth it out and get rid of lint and stuff. Using the brush to sculpt the clay is actually so much easier than just trying to use a silicone tool. I think I could have probably made the head a little bit bigger, but we're going to go with that. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is actually looking so cute. Okay, next for the little ears. I don't really want to spend too much longer on this nail, so I'm just going to quickly sculpt on two little triangles for the ears. Basically, I start by sculpting out little cones and then, yeah. I gave that a full cure, so I'm just gonna like carefully wipe it off with some isopropyl alcohol. All right, I think that's a good base. Now I'm just going to paint on all the little details, the ears, the eyes, and the blush, and the little white paws. Basically the exact same process that I did for Junie. The only difference is that Arwen's eyes are green and her little paws are white. And actually we didn't even draw on Junie's paws, so. For those of you who are new here, Arwen and Junie are me and my boyfriend Kevin's cats. We got them last year at the beginning of May. So we've had them for just over a year now, and they both turned 1 year old this year in April. They are brother and sister, and we got them from the from an animal rescue shelter. They live at my boyfriend's house though, because I still live with my parents and my dad is allergic to cats, so he says. I feel like Arwen's eyes are definitely small compared to Junie's, and I feel like her head could have been a lot bigger, but at the same time I feel like it's perfect like this because it doesn't go bigger than the end of the nail. And yeah, I don't like it when square nails are wider at the top than at the bottom, so it's fine. I think it's cute. So I'm just gonna add the little 3D doming details to her eyes and her nose, and then I will put the top coat on and we will be finally finished with this first design. I started working on this nail at 1 o'clock, actually a bit before 1 o'clock, and it is now 3:30. So yes, this nail has taken me a while. I'm about ready to be done with this nail, not gonna lie. I think adding this clear gel on top of the eyes is actually helping make the eyes look a little bit bigger and cuter. Oh my goodness. Wait, that's actually so good. Finally, time for the top coat. I'm just going to use this Yogo Zombie top gel. This nail took so long and low-key turned out so derpy, but I feel like the derpiness is actually kind of cute in a way. Like, you know when things are derpy on purpose? Yeah. So I'm just going to say that that's what it is. It's derpy on purpose. I feel like it looked cuter in the drawing, but you know, I did my very best, y'all. And obviously the amount of time that I spent on this nail testifies to that. Ooh, I do think it looks so much better with the top coat though. Top coat just always makes everything look like at least 75% better, no matter what. Also, Arwen is a lot fluffier than Junie, but I really did not want to try to do that with the sculpting gel. I felt like that was going to be really hard to achieve. So I kind of just tried to make her look a little bit fluffier by adding like fluff in the ears, whereas Junie doesn't have any fluff in the ears. So yeah. Usually I wait until the very end to get final shots of all the nails, but I am going to take final shots of these as I go because I do not want to risk anything happening to them in the meantime while I do the other designs. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some final shots of this one outside in some natural light, and let's move on to the next nail. The next design that I'm going to be recreating is this super creative cake design to celebrate me hitting 30,000 subscribers. This episode of Subscribers Draw My Nails was meant to be a celebration video for hitting 30,000 subscribers. So I do just want to say thank you guys so much for helping me get to this milestone. All of your support really does mean so much to me. But yeah, for the nail design, I'm going to be doing this adorable cake with like 3D sculpted frosting and 3D sculpted 30K candle type decorations. Thank you so much to Liturk, which I probably mispronounced, for submitting this design. It's so adorable. But yeah, let's get into the design, shall we? So for this nail, the tip is like an extra long round shape, except I didn't have any actual full cover tips that were extra long round. So what I did, I used these extra long stiletto full cover tips from a Prey, but then I just chopped them down a little bit and shaped them. And I used the exact same steps as I did for the first nail. So I just did that so you guys didn't have to watch it all over again. So for the base of the nail, there's two colors. There's like the lighter pink color, which I think this liner gel from Vetsy is the perfect color. These Vetsy liner gels, I don't even know if Vetsy still carries these liner gels, but anyway. And then for the darker, like squiggly lines on top of that, I think that this pink from Blue Sky would be really pretty. So I'm gonna start with this liner gel, and I should probably just use a different brush to apply it, but we're just gonna use this one. Because I'm too lazy. Or not that I'm too lazy, but I just don't want to get a whole nother brush dirty and stuff, you know? Okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit for it to kind of like level out because it's definitely a lot more streaky when you just use the liner brush to apply it to the entire nail. Okay, I'm just gonna put some of this darker pink on here for the squiggles. Hopefully it's darker enough that, yeah, I think it's dark enough. For these lines, I'm gonna use a brush that's a little bit longer than the ones I was using before since we're doing like long lines. Let's see how this looks on here. Yeah, I think that's good. I think in the drawing, the lighter pink is a little bit lighter than this one that I used, but it's fine. I think it like gets the point across, you know? Okay, I'm gonna try my best to make them look like the ones in the drawing, but if they're a little bit different, I think it's okay as long as I kind of get the same vibe. Also, I like to cure my lines as I go so that I don't smudge them or they don't start like spreading too much while I'm doing the rest of them. The other flash curing lamp died, so switching to the Kuromi one. I put a second layer on all of the lines and I think it looks a lot better now. I think they pop out a lot more. So the way it looks in the drawing, it looks like the 30K is like sculpted on, almost like candles sort of, and it's put on top of the frosting. So before I do any of the frosting, I'm gonna sculpt out those numbers and one letter. So I'm gonna sculpt them out using this Milky White non-stick nail gel, and then after I sculpt them out and cure them, I will paint them the same color green that they are in the drawing. I want to use about the same amount of gel for each of the numbers slash letters, so I'm going to split this into 3 equal-ish parts. So the 3 and the 0 should be pretty easy because they're basically just like one long snake bent into a different shape. I'm going to sculpt it on top of one of these, like, just so that I can easily peel it off after I cure it because I don't want it to get stuck to my table. Oh, that 3 is way too big. It's way too big, way too big. Actually, I'm thinking it might be a little bit easier to sculpt out of acrylic. But first, I'm gonna like draw out a stencil for how big I want each of them to be. Just a light one. I think that will be good because then when I put them next to each other, I'll like close in the gaps between them, so they should fit better. Since I'm just gonna sculpt it out with acrylic, I have this acrylic powder that I never opened. I think that it's actually glow in the dark, and there's like a super bright green one in here, which I think would be like extra cool if it was glow in the dark. Yes, right here. Ooh, so bright green. Okay, I have my monomer here and this super teeny tiny acrylic brush that I'm pretty sure I just got from like Shein or AliExpress. So I've never actually sculpted anything out so tiny with acrylic before. So this is probably going to take some trial and error, but I'm gonna try my best. Okay, now that I have like the outline basically, I'm just gonna build it up a little bit. It gets a lot easier to move it around once it's very close to being completely set. Okay, yeah, that 3 is almost literally perfect. That was so much easier than sculpting it out of the gel. All right, I'm just gonna speed through doing these other 2 really quick. And I'm not gonna peel the 3 off yet because I wanna make sure that it is fully cured because I don't want it to like break or anything. Although, I feel like maybe if it wasn't fully cured, it might have less of a chance of breaking because it would be more like flexible, if that makes sense. But either way, I don't want to risk it. I'm sure that this acrylic is not the easiest to sculpt out of because there's so much pigment in it. It's kind of powdery in a way, like grainy. Okay, they all seem to be fully cured or set. Ooh, yes, perfect. Epic. That's pretty much perfect if you ask me. All right, so time to do the frosting, which is probably also going to be a challenge. I would use this milky white one, but I feel like it's too like stark white compared to the drawing. I feel like in the drawing it's a little bit more of a cream color. So actually I think I'm gonna take this brown sculpting gel, which there's only a teeny bit left of because I used most of it to do the reindeer in my Christmas subscribers draw my nails video. But yeah, I'm just going to mix whatever is left with this with enough of the white gel to go around the entire nail, and hopefully that'll make like a more creamy white color. Now I feel like it's too tan. It needs to be a little bit more yellow, but I really don't want to mix in more colors. Like, it looks a bit too brown. Like a bit chocolatey almost. I don't know. Let's just try it, I guess. Maybe the color will look a little bit different once it's like actually on the nail. Before I start putting it on, I'm going to put primer over the whole nail to just make the surface more sticky, because this stuff does not want to stick to just like a smooth surface. And then I'm going to get a small piece and I'm going to roll it into a little sphere. And then I'm going to put it like on the very edge, because what's nice about these nails is they're like super sculpted. That way when I put it on the very edge, it's not going to look too bulky. I feel like it'll actually look more like the shape that they have in the drawing. So yeah, I'm going to put it on the edge like that. And then I'm going to make like little marks like that. And there. I think that if I could just continue doing it like that along the whole way, that it would look like icing. I feel like icing definitely doesn't need to look perfect, so as long as it kind of just looks, you know, like it resembles icing, it should be good. For the rest of them though, I am going to try to use spheres of gel that are a little bit smaller than the first one that I did. And I'm not going to put any of like the icing around the center part of the nail on either sides, because that's where we're going to be putting like the numbers and the letter in. So I want to be able to push the numbers and like letters down into the gel. And I'm flash curing every little bit of icing as I go. I'm just not showing it in the camera because I'm moving my nail off to the side when I do it, so that I don't cure any of the uncured gel that's on my desk at the moment. Just doing that took a really long time. So now I'm gonna put the letters on, or not the letters, but the numbers, whatever, you get what I mean. So I do want to partly stick them in the icing a little bit, but obviously the icing is like on the very edges. It's not going to be able to hold all of them in. So to put them on, I'm also going to dip them in my Ivy Fix gel. So I'm just gonna start with pretty like big icing dollop, if you will. Close up the gap on either side, but I'm not going to flash cure them because I want it to look like the letters are like pressed into the icing. I don't want it to look like the letters are floating on top, because I feel like that'll take away from the realness of the icing, you know what I'm saying? And I spent so long doing each of these individual little icing pipes. I would like them to look as nice as possible. Okay, now that I've got the icing on there, it doesn't look absolutely perfect, but I think it definitely looks good enough. And honestly, icing doesn't look perfect anyway in real life. So I'm going to quickly put on the letters before the icing kind of starts to lose its shape. Oh my goodness, I think that looks so good. Okay, I'm going to give it a full cure. Okay, it's not done yet because I almost forgot about the little cherries, which they said could be switched with charms instead, but I just don't think that any charms are going to look as cute as little cherries. So we're just gonna sculpt some little cherries. It shouldn't be that hard. It's literally just going to be 2 little red spheres, and I'm gonna make them pretty small. And then before I cure them, I'm going to take my little wooden cuticle pusher and I'm going to put a little like dent in the top for where like the stem is going to go in. And I'm going to cure them. And then for the icing, I'm just going to take a little dollop and just like put it there like that. That looks like icing. I'm going to take one of the little cherries and put it in the icing. So cute. Okay, I'm gonna cure it. Since it's so warm in my room and because I've been like working with this gel so much, it became a lot stickier, which was actually perfect because I feel like it looks and feels more like real icing might. And then I'm gonna use this green sculpting gel and I'm just gonna make 2 teeny tiny little stems for the cherries, really super tiny. Oh my goodness, we are at the finish line of this nail. I feel like this is like the one nail that could look pretty matte top coated, but I'm gonna use my glossy top coat first, and if it looks really nice with the glossy top coat on, then I'm just gonna leave it glossy. I feel like this nail matches the drawing so well. It's literally perfect, except the green shade is a little bit off, but honestly, this nail took me 4 hours, guys. What? Oh my goodness. Okay, I really do take my time though, and I have to like take breaks and get up and walk downstairs and walk to the bathroom like multiple times while I'm doing it, or else I'll just like lose my mind. And I figure might as well just take my time, and I literally put my everything into making these designs as close to you guys' drawings as possible. So I'd prefer to just take my time and have it take a bit longer than to rush and have it not turn out looking good and for you guys to be disappointed. I never want to disappoint you guys. I think this nail looks really pretty glossy, so I'm gonna keep it that way. Oh, this nail is so cute. Honestly, I did not expect to like it as much as I do right now, but I feel like the icing turned out absolutely perfect. The third drawing that I'm going to be bringing to life on my nails is this super cute little froggy nail with 3D flowers submitted by Aoxtol. After doing so many complicated 3D designs, this nail seems like it's going to be a breath of fresh air because of how adorable yet simple it is, in a good way. Simple is good, okay? I love it. So yeah, let's get into it. So I went ahead and applied the exact same square tip that we used for the Junie and Arwen nail on this nail for the frog, since it is also an extra long square. And for the background of the nail, they said to make it glittery like water, but I'm not completely sure if that means they want the water effect or if they just want it to be like a glittery blue, because I've done both in the past. I've done like just jelly glittery blue as looking like water, and then I've also done like with the cat eye gel and stuff. So that since I'm planning on doing the water effect for a different nail, I'm going to just stick to doing some glittery jelly blue for the water. So the first one I'm going to use is from Yogurt Nail. It's glitter number 07. I forget which collection it's from. I think this one was from like my first Korean nail supply haul ever. So I'm just going to put one layer of that. And then on top of that, I'm going to use this really glittery blue gel polish from Aurora Queen. I think it came in like the summer popsicle collection or something like that. Yeah, this isn't really looking very blue, to be honest. It's looking very glittery, but not very blue. Okay, I figured out what to do to make it look more blue. I'm going to use this gel polish from the new Hollow Shell gel polish collection from Via that I got in the color VP07. Yes. Oh, this is perfect. I think this is going to look really pretty. Yes, I think that's good. It adds like a perfect bluish green tint, and then also this one has a little bit of like a crater texture to it, almost like the moon gels, if you've seen those. Actually, like exactly like the moon gels, so I don't know, maybe that'll make it look a little bit more like water. Ooh, I think that does look really pretty. It almost matches my background actually. Back to the liner gels for the little frog. Use the light one for most of the frog, and then this darker one, the darker green, for the outline. Then we're also going to need the pink for the blush, and the black and white for the eyes. I'm going to get out my teeny tiny liner brush again. I'm going to approach painting this little frog the exact same way that I did painting Junie on the first nail. First, I'm going to paint on the outline of the frog and then fill it in all with one solid color. I did a second coat of the green because some of the colors in that liner gel set are more opaque and less opaque, so that lighter green was a little less opaque. So I did 2 layers of it, and now I'm going to do the darker green for the outline. I love how these colors are looking against the blue right now so far. They're so cute. How is that looking so good? Okay, next for the little eyeballs, I'm gonna use my dotting tool. I'm sitting here like curing my nail. I'm curing my nail, and I'm sitting right next to my window, and it is nighttime. So it's dark outside, my window's opened and my blinds are open, and it's completely dark outside, and then all of a sudden I just see this white thing at my window, and it scared the crap out of me, but it's just a very large white moth. Dude, he really wants to come into and get my studio lights. So I think I did the little white dots bigger than the drawing, definitely, but I think it looks pretty cute like that still. So I'm just gonna do the little smiley face and add the little blushies. I love this little frog because it's like super simple to draw, but really cute. And after those last 2 nails, I am very thankful to be doing a more simple nail. Not that it's super simple, but it's definitely easier compared to the last 2 nails I did with all that sculpting. But maybe I'm speaking too soon because I still have to do the 3D flowers. So, okay, Mr. Froggy is done. I think the froggy they drew is a little bit cuter than this one, but he's cute too. So next we have to do 2 3D sculpted flowers, and in the notes of this drawing they said I could do whatever colors I wanted, but I like the purple and the pink that they chose, so that's what I'm going to stick with. And I'm going to use this 3D carving gel from Honey Girl, which came in this package. I got it from Temu, I believe. And then for the little gems in the center, I have these like pointed gems, and I think they'll be perfect to stick into the 3D gel, and maybe I can even use like a pink one for the pink flower and a purple one for the purple flower. I guess let's start with the pink one. Ooh, this gel is so pretty. Okay, we've got to make them pretty small because we've got to fit 2 on there. Okay, so I'm going to cut this into 5 equal parts, or somewhat equal parts. Roll each of them into a little ball, and you already know the drill. I'm going to put on some gel primer so that the 3D gel will stick better. I can already tell I made these a little too big. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit another one on there if I do them that big. Okay, I'm going to re-roll these into 5 different balls. Okay, that fits a lot better. So then I'm just going to press like the centers in basically of the little petals, like so. I think it'll look better when we put the crystal in the center, hopefully. I think I am going to use a pink crystal for the center. Get one of the big ones. Oh, is that too big? I think it looks kind of cute. Does it? Or does it look too big? I think it's kind of cute. I'm gonna cure it. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing, but for the purple flower. Yeah, I don't know. The flowers might be a little big, but I think they're actually really cute. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the flowers themselves are very cute, but I don't know if they look very good on the nail just because they're so big compared to everything else, especially when on the drawing they were a lot smaller. But yeah, I'm just going to put on this glossy top coat now because again, the top coat wasn't specified and I think that glossy top coat is always best. Especially for this one because there's so many glitters and everything. Definitely want a glossy top coat to see those glitters sparkle. Also, I was looking at the drawing again and I realized that nowhere did it say that the water, like the blue water, was glittery. I don't know why my brain just inserts the word glitter everywhere, but yeah, so that was my bad. Hopefully it's okay. The next one of you guys' drawings that I'm going to be putting on my nails is this fantabulous, spooktacular Summerween pool party nail submitted by Ashley Does Nails on YouTube. This is so adorable, and I don't know when Summerween is like supposed to be. It might be already past. I looked it up on Google because honestly I have never heard of Summerween until this year, and I cannot believe it because it sounds fantastic and adorable, and I cannot wait to start doing spooky nails once like the middle of September hits. So this is just a little appetizer, a little taste of what the Halloween nails are gonna be like during spooky season. But yeah, this nail art is absolutely so adorable and I can't wait to do it. So thank you so much to Ashley for submitting this really creative design. Now let's get into it. Once again, I put on one of the extra long square tips like before. So I've done this water effect multiple times on my channel now, but it always turns out really pretty. So for the water effect, I'm going to be using these two cat eye gels from Yogurt Gel. They're from the Aquarium collection. So if you guys watch my videos regularly, you've probably seen me do this method a few times in the past month or so. Just it being summer and beach ocean nails being really popular right now, and they're actually so easy to do. So something I am going to do a little different is instead of leaving the first layer not magnetized, I'm just gonna like completely demagnetize it by moving all of the shiny parts away so that we just have like a glittery jelly base. And I'm gonna quickly give that a cure. And then I'm gonna do a second layer of the ombre. And then for this layer, I'm going to try to bring all like the shiny magnet pieces kind of towards the center. With cat eye gel, it can be really hard to see what I'm doing unless I hold it at like a specific angle. I think that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take these little ball magnets and I'm just going to like make a water effect by holding the ball magnets over the cat eye gel in all different places and angles. Doesn't need to be perfect. So I'm going to cure that. And then I'm going to take my Milky White gel polish. This one's from Divock. And I'm going to put a layer of that over the whole nail. I don't want to put too thick of a layer. And then for this part, you can use top coat or base gel, but I like to use blooming gel because it just like spreads out quicker and easier. So I'm just going to put some of that on my palette for easy access. And then using my dotting tool, I'm just going to put drops of the blooming gel all over the milky white layer to create that water effect. This method of doing like the water nail art is so easy and it comes out looking so pretty every single time. And then as the blooming gel spreads out, do you see how like bumpy and thick it's getting on the sides because all of the gel polish is kind of like going down towards the sides? I really do not like that, so I just take a brush and brush the sides, because since we have the cat eye gel effect underneath, it's really not going to make very much of a difference if the blooming gel with milky white effect isn't strong on the sides. Okay, I gave that a full cure and it's looking so pretty as always. So time to do the adorable little ghosty nail art, which is definitely the best part of this nail, I think. So obviously I'm going to need the white for the ghosts, and then I'm going to stick to the colors that they used for the little floaties. So I'm going to use the darker pink, the green, the orange, and the purple. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit as many ghosts on the nail as they did in the drawing. They made a note on their submission and said that I didn't have to do as many ghosts and I didn't have to make them as small as they did in the drawing. So I think I'm just going to try to fit 3. And I'll probably start with like these colors because these colors feel really summery to me. So I'm going to start by painting on the little donut floaties. Is that what you call them? I haven't been in a pool or the beach all summer. Now that I think about it, it's kind of making me sad. I really want to go to the like beach or the pool now. When I was younger, I used to go, my mom used to take us to the pool 2 times a week, me and my siblings. And it was always the best part of summer. It was so fun. We used to go off the diving board, and like having siblings is so fun when you're younger and when you're older because they're just like built-in best friends. But yeah, it's super random. Okay, and now to draw the little ghosties floating in their little donut tube things. It's actually the next day. I spent all day doing those first 3 nails yesterday, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to bed so that I can put an equal amount of effort into the last 2 nails. But I'm like so tired today, and I'm drinking an energy drink, and for some reason it's making me even like more sleepy. So sorry if I'm not super talkative during this last little part, but I think these ghosties are gonna be so cute. Oh my goodness, this is actually turning out so good. I was a little afraid that there wasn't going to be enough space for the top one, but they're actually spaced out so perfectly. I'm so glad that I drew the little tubes before I drew the ghosts so that I could make sure everything was spaced out properly. And then for the little eyes, I'm going to use my dotting tool to do the eyes as usual. There's also like a couple of the ghosts in the drawing are holding little drinks, and I think it's so cute, but I'm afraid if I try to like do that, I'm just gonna like completely mess it up. OMG, this is adorable. Dude, this nail is turning out so cute. Low-key, I want to just top coat it right now. I definitely can't top coat it without putting the little drinks in their hands. So I'm just gonna add those super teeny tiny details really quick, and they're so tiny, so I don't know how much of it I'm gonna actually be able to get on camera because my face is gonna need to be really close to my nail. So my head might just end up being in the frame, but I'm gonna try my best. Oh my goodness, I literally could not describe how cute this nail is. Like, are you kidding me? That's adorable. So time for a top coat, and it's gonna be even more beautiful and stunning. Yes. So gorgeous. I cannot wait for Halloween and all of the Halloween videos. I love making Halloween nail videos. This nail is just a little preview of all of the Halloween videos to come once we get towards the end of September. But of course I had to seize the opportunity to do a Halloween nail in July. So adorable. I love it so much. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to be recreating this super original nail art design. They didn't want to be credited, but thank you to whoever submitted this. It's so original. It reminds me of like doodles on like school paper in elementary school for some reason, and like just fun back to school vibes, but in like a really cute summery way, if that makes sense. And I love the green. Y'all know I've been a little bit obsessed with green lately. I'm so excited to recreate this. Thank you so much for submitting it. Now let's get into the last design, shall we? I tried my best to pick out accurately matching colors. The only problem is that most of the gel polishes I have are either like jelly or syrup gels, so they're not completely opaque other than like the liner gels that I have and a few other colors. So this yogurt nail syrup gel is like the perfect matching color for the stripes on the green, but the problem is it is very translucent. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a layer of white gel polish as a base so that all of like the more like jelly milky colors show up more opaque, hopefully, instead of like just being on a transparent background. So this cream color is Yogurt Nail Syrup number 62, and I think I got it from the Blossom Gel Polish collection. I'm going to start with this as the base, and then I'm going to do the green stripes on top of this. And I think I might need to use 2 coats of this, because in the drawing, the cream color is pretty strong. Looks kind of like an eggshell color. So I'm going to try to put the second layer, but if it's not that much of a difference, I'm probably just gonna stick with 1 layer because I don't want it to get too bulky. I feel like on camera it doesn't look like a big difference, but I kind of feel like it's more accurate with the second layer, so we're just gonna go with the second layer. I mean, pretty much all of these nails are bulky, so at least it'll be cohesive, you know what I'm saying? And then for the green, I think that I'm also going to need to do at least 2 layers since these greens are also pretty transparent, but I didn't really have a green that matched the color exactly, so I think I'm gonna start with this one, which is more of like a sage green. It's so pretty. Oh, whoa. And then on top of that, to make the green a little bit brighter like the picture, I'm gonna use this, which is more of like a kiwi, like milky lime green. Oh, this color is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm just going to put some of each of them on my palette. I've been kind of in love with greens lately, and these 2 green shades are so beautiful. And since we're doing just like longer straight lines, I'm going to use my liner brush that's a bit longer than the one I use for like doing the little character art. But then I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger brush to fill in the thicker parts. I think that in the drawing, the green is definitely a little bit more on the yellowy side, but I think that this looks really cute still. So next I'm going to use the same pink liner gel that I've been using this entire video, and I'm gonna do the little kind of like dotted lines. They're not really dotted, but kind of like lines with spaces in between them. It kind of reminds me of like lined paper that you would use when you're younger to practice your lettering and stuff. They would have like that dotted line in the center. Okay, now for the stars, which are probably going to be the hardest part, especially like drawing a star that's not like a complete star. I feel like it's always a little bit harder because you can't just like do the, you know, way that you were taught to do a star when you were little. You have to do each of the triangles, and it can come out looking a little wonky sometimes. So I'm going to start with the easier one, which I think is going to be the white one in the bottom left corner, because it's basically just 2 little triangles and then 2 thinner triangles inside that. Yeah, see, I feel like that just looks like, I don't know, like cat ears or something. It doesn't really look like a star, but hopefully after I do this second one, it'll be like more obvious that it's a star if I can do it well. But I'm gonna start with the middle lines, which are the pink ones, which are a bit thicker. And then that way, hopefully I can like kind of space out and leave room for the other lines, because sometimes it's really hard to get the same proportions as a drawing on the actual nail. You think there's a lot of space and then there's not enough space, and you think you're drawing small, but then you realize you're actually drawing pretty large. That second star definitely looks a bit wonky. I don't know if it actually looks like a star, but maybe that just adds to like the doodle aesthetic of it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm just coping, but I think it's pretty cute. So the last thing to do is to add some of these like little pearls. At least that's what I think the little dots are in the drawing. They look exactly like these little pearls and they're drawn so well. So I'm going to use some of the pink and some of the blue pearls in the smallest size that I have. Also, sorry if like my skin being like this has bothered anyone. I started playing tennis with my boyfriend again, and I think that just like holding the racket after not playing tennis for a long time is like bothering my hand. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to put a couple of those pearls on. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit as many as in the drawing, especially because these are the smallest pearls I have, and the ones in the drawing look a bit smaller, like in proportion to the stars and stuff. But I'm just using a teeny tiny bit of Ivy Fix Gel to put those on. I wish I had little pearls that were smaller because it would look so much more accurate, but I think it's still cute and it still has the same vibes as the drawing. So the only thing left to do is put a top coat on, and I think that this is the one nail today that is definitely going to look better with a matte top coat, because then it'll make it look more like a drawing. So I'm just going to use this Velvet Matte Top Coat from Madame Glam. And I'm going to put it over the whole nail and all the pearls and everything. And hopefully it'll also maybe make the nail look a little bit more, like less bumpy, because all of the line art and stuff, it was kind of looking very bumpy, and matte top coat is very nice and thick, so it's good for leveling surfaces out. I feel like the matte top coat kind of made the colors look a bit more like faded and dull, but I think it's cute. And yeah, there's the last nail. And with that, that is the end of this episode of Subscribers Draw My Nails. These nails actually turned out so cute. I feel like they're all cohesive somehow in like a very uncohesive way, if you know what I'm saying. Like they're all vibrant and colorful and so cute for summer, but then they're also all so different. Like each one is so unique and different from the rest of them and has like a bit of a different style. Also, I was not planning for this to happen, but all of them are square except the pinky and the pointer finger, which are both round. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys which tip I used for this pinky one. I used these long sculpted round tips from Poway. Yeah, so because it is a bit shorter than the pointer finger, these turned out so cute. And oh my goodness, y'all have no idea like how long I've been working on these nails. This hand, I've been working on it for 20 hours. And that's kind of embarrassing, but at the same time, I'm like, whatever, because I just like taking my time with everything and making sure that I like how it looks. So I like taking a lot of breaks as well and not rushing myself. This one's so adorable. I don't even know if I can pick a favorite because I just love them all so much. But yeah, I was gonna say the pinky finger and the pointer finger are both long round and all the other ones are like extra long square, which I didn't mean for that to happen, but it actually kind of works because people do that sometimes where they make like the pinky finger and the pointer finger like stiletto or almond and all the other ones are a different shape, and I've never done that in a nail set before, so this is like my first time doing it and I think it's kind of cute. Very cute, actually. I love these so much. Definitely some of the best nails I've ever done. So thank you again so much to all of you who submitted your art for me to create into nails. I love looking at all the art that you guys submit for these episodes of Subscribers Draw My Nails, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. And thank you so much for being so patient with me and waiting for me to get these videos out. They do take so much time and effort, and I'm really bad at procrastinating things. But yeah, I absolutely love how these nails came out, and I hope that you guys like them as well, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it and you want to give it a thumbs up, it helps me out so much and I really appreciate it. I hope that you are having the most amazing day, night, week, life. Sleep well if you're going to sleep, cutie. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye! Mwah.